Did you know that more than 70% of the world's carbon emissions come from just 100 companies? That's right. A small number of corporations are driving the climate crisis, while we're often told that our individual actions are the key to making a difference. It's shocking to realize that even as consumers push for sustainability, many big companies are still prioritizing profits over the planet. In fact, a report from Oxfam revealed that 8 billionaires own more wealth than half the world's population. This inequality impacts sustainability efforts, making it harder for everyday people to make real change. It's time to ask ourselves, are we waiting for corporations to take responsibility, or should we take matters into our own hands? In this video, we'll explore 6 unique strategies for achieving sustainable living that go beyond the usual recycling tips. We'll dive into topics like the greenwashing trap, how to embrace radical self-sufficiency, and even the surprising world of urban foraging. We'll also unpack the invisible impacts of our financial choices on the environment. Get ready to discover how you can live a more sustainable life, regardless of what corporations do. Join us on this journey to reclaim sustainability, one action at a time. Chapter 1: The Greenwashing Trap. Why corporate sustainability is a lie. Let's face it, corporations are masters of illusion when it comes to sustainability. You've seen the ads. Companies talk about being green, but in reality, it's just another marketing trick. This is called greenwashing, and it's everywhere. A 2021 study by Changing Markets Foundation found that 40% of green claims made by fashion brands were misleading. And it's not just fashion. Big brands in food, energy, and retail are guilty too. So, what's the real story? Corporations know that sustainability sells. In fact, Nielsen reports that 66% of global consumers are willing to pay more for sustainable products. But here's the catch: for many corporations, sustainability means looking sustainable, not actually being sustainable. Instead of changing their core practices, they slap a green label on products, tweak a few things, and call it a day. For example, plastic bottle recycling sounds good, right? But most plastic can only be recycled a few times before it becomes unusable. A National Geographic study found that only 9% of plastic ever produced has been recycled. The rest? It's piling up in landfills or oceans. This is why we can't just rely on corporations to lead the charge. So, what can you do? Start by looking beyond the labels. Research the companies you support. Ask tough questions. Where do they source materials? What are their real environmental impacts? This puts the power back in your hands, where it belongs. Remember, corporate sustainability may be a myth, but individual actions are real. Chapter 2: Radical Self-Sufficiency. The power of community living. Sustainability isn't just about individual action, it's about collective power. One of the most effective ways to live sustainably is through community living. Think of eco-villages, co-housing projects, or intentional communities. These setups allow people to share resources, reduce waste, and lower their carbon footprint in ways single households can't. Living in a community where everyone shares tools, appliances, and energy resources can cut consumption by half or more. A 2018 report from the Global Eco-Village Network found that people in eco-villages often use 70% less energy than those in conventional housing. It's not because they're missing out on modern comforts. It's because they're smarter about how they use resources. What's really exciting is how this creates resilience. Community living isn't just about sustainability, it's about thriving when things go wrong. When you share resources, you don't need to rely on big companies to survive. You rely on each other. It's a return to the basics, but with a modern twist. Plus, the benefits go beyond environmental impact. Research published in the book Happy City by Charles Montgomery suggests that people in community-based living arrangements tend to be happier and less stressed. They have stronger social bonds and a sense of purpose. It's a win-win, a lifestyle that's sustainable and satisfying. Chapter 3: Digital Minimalism. Cutting your carbon footprint in the online world. Most of us don't think about the environmental impact of our digital lives, but it's a growing problem. The internet feels invisible, but the energy behind it is massive. A 2020 report by the Shift Project found that 3.7% of global greenhouse gas emissions come from our digital usage. That's more than the airline industry. Every time we send an email, stream a video, or store something in the cloud, we're using energy, lots of it. Data centers, which power the internet, are energy hogs. They need to run 24/7 and require enormous amounts of cooling to keep servers from overheating. And as we become more reliant on digital tools, the problem is only getting bigger. According to a Gartner study, by 2025, the ICT, information and communication technology, sector could account for 8% of global emissions if we don't change our habits. So how do you reduce your digital footprint? Start by decluttering your online life. Unsubscribe from unnecessary emails. Did you know that every spam email emits 0.3 grams of CO2? Clean up your cloud storage and reduce unnecessary downloads. Opt for energy-efficient devices and avoid replacing gadgets too often. Every bit helps. You can also choose digital services that are more eco-friendly. Some companies, like Ecosia, a search engine that plants trees with its profits, are actively working to offset their carbon footprint. It's all about being mindful of the impact your online activities have on the planet. Lastly, embrace the concept of digital minimalism. Spend less time glued to screens and more time engaging in the real world. As Cal Newport suggests in his book, Digital Minimalism, cutting back on screen time can make you not only more productive but also more fulfilled. So, in reducing your digital footprint, you might just improve your quality of life too. If you're finding this information helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tips and strategies on sustainable living. Chapter 4, The Circular Economy, Turning Trash into Treasure. Literally, when we think about sustainability, most of us think of recycling. But what if there was a way to go beyond recycling, a system where waste doesn't exist? That's where the circular economy comes in. In this system, products are designed to be reused, repaired, or repurposed instead of ending up in landfills. It's all about keeping materials in use for as long as possible. The current economy is linear: take, make, dispose. We extract raw materials, create products, and then toss them when we're done. In a circular economy, everything has value, even after its original purpose is fulfilled. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation, a leader in the circular economy movement, estimates that shifting to this model could save businesses up to $1 trillion annually by 2025. That's a massive incentive to rethink how we handle materials. One of the simplest ways to engage with the circular economy is by upcycling, turning waste into something new and useful. For example, turning old clothes into reusable bags or making furniture from discarded wood. It's creative, reduces waste, and saves you money. In the Netherlands, there's an entire community called De Keuvel, built from repurposed houseboats. This sustainable neighborhood thrives on circular economy principles. They grow their own food, use composting toilets, and even clean polluted land using plants. It's proof that you can live well without creating waste. On an individual level, start by repairing items instead of replacing them. If your phone breaks, fix it. There's a growing right to repair movement, supported by people like tech pioneer Steve Wozniak, that encourages consumers to fix their own gadgets instead of buying new ones. Small changes like this can have a huge impact when they scale across society. Chapter 5, Urban Foraging, Free Food, Less Waste, and No Plastic. Did you know you could find free, organic food right in your city? It's called urban foraging, and it's a surprisingly effective way to reduce your ecological footprint. By harvesting wild plants and fruits that grow in public spaces, you can cut down on your dependence on the industrial food system, which is one of the largest contributors to pollution and waste. Urban foraging isn't just for wilderness areas. Many cities are filled with edible plants, herbs, and even fruit trees. According to research from the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, 30–40% of global food production is lost or wasted. By foraging, you're helping reduce that waste while enjoying healthy, natural food. Take Los Angeles, for instance. There's an entire community of foragers who collect fruit from public trees and redistribute it to local food banks. It's sustainable, reduces plastic packaging, and fights food insecurity all at once. There's even a website called fallingfruit.org that maps out public places to forage in cities worldwide. It's also important to note that foraging teaches us to reconnect with nature. In the book, Braiding Sweetgrass, Robin Wall Kimmerer talks about the deep bond between people and plants. She writes, "The plants are showing us the way. Foraging allows us to respect the earth by only taking what we need, rather than contributing to the endless cycle of consumption." If you're new to foraging, start small. Look for dandelions, wild garlic, or fruit trees in your local area. Always make sure it's legal and safe to forage in your city, and avoid areas near roads to reduce exposure to pollutants. By harvesting your food directly, you're not only reducing waste but also cutting out the need for plastic packaging or transportation. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about sustainable living strategies, hit that subscribe button. Join our community and stay informed on how we can all make a difference together.